Hey, Mortgage Coach community, Dave Savage here, and today I am interviewing Denise Donoghue. What's up, Denise?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I'm excited to finally have you on video here. Congratulations on adding a new family member.
Yes, I know. He's already 8 weeks, so it's crazy. Time is flying.
Right on. Well, congrats on that. And
Yeah.
and now you're a mom, you're a mortgage professional, you're a leader in the mortgage coach community. So you just added another job to your already busy job list.
Yes, yes. It's a good job to have, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let's talk about how you're delivering value to realtors, how you're delivering value to families. Obviously, mortgage coach is a part of that. Video is a big part of that. For anybody that doesn't know you, tell them what market you're in, a little bit about your team and your production level, and then we'll
Sure.
we'll see where this call takes us.
Okay. So my name's Denise Donoghue. I'm AKA the self-proclaimed mortgage nerd. I'm here in the DFW area, specifically in the Plano market. I have been licensed since April 2012, so somewhat newer or rookie-ish compared to a lot of the loan officers out there. And this year I'll end up just over 50 million and over 200 families helped. We're really excited about that because that's a big milestone that we hit this year. And so I'm excited about that. I've got a team. I've got two upfront production partners and one contract to close production partner and a marketing assistant that we're rocking and rolling. I added my second upfront pre-qualification team member this year, so we're just over a 30% increase this year, which is great because I was pregnant for most of the year. So I'm excited. I'm excited. We've helped 200 families and have shown 200 families a certified mortgage plan or a total cost analysis. So that's awesome.
Well, first of all, that is amazing that you were pregnant most of the year, and you increased your production by 30%, and you're killing it. So that's a pretty amazing story, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So let's start with just why are you on the mortgage coach team? You know, why do you use mortgage coach? How do you use mortgage coach? And then let's see where that goes.
Okay. So actually, I got introduced to Mortgage Coach Edge. I guess it was about 2 years ago, and I immediately fell in love with it. The biggest thing for me is it allows me to have a intelligent conversation at a high level, but also very dumbed down, if that makes sense. So the mortgage process and rates and cost and fees, especially if you're a consumer trying to compare one from another company, I mean, it's super confusing. Nobody goes to school for this kind of stuff, and I even find that, especially the men that I talk to, not to be sexist, but there's a little bit of fear in there that they want to make sure that they know what they're talking about, but they don't really know a whole lot. And so it's an easy, quick way for me to show them the numbers. And what I found is that if you take the emotion out of interest rates and cost and you get really specific on facts and numbers, it's so much easier to make a decision because we all know the saying numbers don't lie. And so it's just an easy way to show the numbers and show your break even or, on the 60-month rate of return or savings analysis is it's just an easy way to have a conversation that usually takes over an hour that I can condense it, which means I have more time to do, lead generating type things. So that's the biggest benefit that I get out of it is building trust, being able to condense the amount of time, but letting the numbers speak for themselves.
So I mean, at the end of the day, it's education, delivering a better educational experience, and saving time in the process. In fact, when you think of mortgage coach versus how you delivered options before, it sounds like it's saving you time.
Oh
Is
my
that
gosh. Yeah, if I showed you and I call myself a nerd, but if I showed you, I built out this, nifty Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and a lot of it I could make formulas to calculate a lot of the fields. But number one, it's somewhat manual, so I always, sometimes I would generate payments and then I would forget the PMI or the MI, and so I'm now showing a rate that or showing a payment that isn't actually the payment because I fat fingered something. And then also when you're trying to compare options in an Excel spreadsheet where you have to be somewhat uniformed, it's very difficult to try to show in one sense a 10% down versus 20% down. And no matter how sophisticated your Excel spreadsheet is, it can't do the things like what Edge does with a total cost analysis of a tax, the tax benefit and looking at a 60-month or 84-month horizon, and then let alone the net worth. It's just, no matter how nerdy you can make an Excel spreadsheet, it's very difficult, and even still, it's very time consuming, and there's room for error there. And so the feature that I love the most about Mortgage Edge is you could just copy, once you build one out, you just copy it to the next and to the next and to the next. So it's just super quick. It's very easy to do.
Yeah, I interviewed John Downs recently. And by the way, I'm going to put a link to the John Downs interview. There's two of them, one where he talks about purchase strategies with realtors, and one that talks about how him and his team adopted it. And I was surprised. I mean, here's a $100 million a year producer, and he's talking about how it's saving him 15 minutes for every realtor referral. He doesn't have to type up the long email. It's a faster way to deliver an educational experience.
Yeah.
So let's transition to that in terms of how you use the fact that you're a mortgage coach as a value prop with realtors, so that they give
Oh
you
my
more
gosh.
referrals, and so that there may be realtors that aren't giving. You're not the number one loan officer, but you're number two or three, and you use mortgage coach to kind of elevate your status. Talk about how loan officers can use mortgage coach to get more realtor referrals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually going to tell you a real live situation that happened last week. So the thing is that we're always looking on how, what our value proposition is or how we can be different from the next loan officer. And we know closing on time and good customer service. We all know that that's an expectation. Nobody expects the loan not to close on time and to not have good service. So you can't really go at it at that angle. So to me, I do play on, largely my value proposition is to be a mortgage coach. It's not just here's your fee sheet and here's your rate over 30 years, because nobody stays in their house for 30 years anymore. So what I sell to the real estate agents is I build confidence and I build trust. And when a client has trust and confidence and they're out shopping for a home, it's a heck of a lot easier for them to pull the trigger on writing an offer when they know exactly what the payment's going to be and how much money they're going to need for the transaction. It's when they don't have that confidence that makes it difficult to pull the trigger. And so I always ask the real estate agent that I'm meeting with, if your clients had complete confidence that they were shopping in the right purchase price and that they knew what their monthly payment was, and if they didn't, they could pull it up on their mobile device, how many more offers do you think that you'd be able to write if they had that confidence and not have to say, well, let me contact my loan officer and see what my monthly payment is? Nobody wants that. You have to, especially in the DFW market, our market is hot tamale right now. So you have to be ready to pull the trigger, which means they have to be equipped with the tools at their fingertips and the confidence to say, yes, this is within my purchase budget, my monthly budget, so that they can pull the trigger on that. And I'll tell you a recent example that I just did. I kind of have a confession to make. I don't know if I told you this or not, but I actually have just started dabbling in the rent versus own calculator. Don't kill me. I know. I've seen all the YouTube videos from Dan and everybody saying, do rent versus own. And so finally, I was like, you know what? I had a client that gave me the rebuttal. He said, I'm just going to wait another year and I'm going to lease for another year. And so finally, that was the dagger in my heart that said, okay, I know this calculator exists on Mortgage Coach and I'm going to learn it. So literally what I did is I pulled up YouTube and I went to your Mortgage Coach channel, which I absolutely love because I can get all these really cool nuggets from these top producers about what they're currently doing in all different markets. But no joke, this is what I did. I pulled up YouTube, the Mortgage Coach channel, and I typed in rent versus own. I believe it was Dan Keller's video. And I pulled it up on one screen and I had Mortgage Coach on another screen. And it was a 10-minute video and I literally followed it. This blonde could follow it step by step. And I was able to calculate a $1,800 rent payment, which is what the gentleman was paying, and compared it to an $1,800 mortgage payment and what that looked like for his think it was the first 60 months, he would have spent $117,000 in rent versus $22,000 in principal reduction. And then his net worth in 15 years, which is always the fun number to highlight, was like a $230,000, net worth in 15 years. And so I kid you not, you can check my Facebook, I swear. I posted this because I was so excited about it. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just started doing this calculation. But I posted it on my Facebook, and all I did was take a screenshot of the two charts. And I made a commentary that said something like, friends don't let friends rent. Here's a live example of a client I spoke to today about renting versus owning. And I said, like, 117,000 throwing away and 230,000 net worth. Who's ready to buy? I had that was just on my personal page. It was an organic post. We all know the algorithms on Facebook on the personal page doesn't get a whole lot of real estate in your news feed. I didn't boost it through my business page or anything like that. And I had over 25 real estate agents share it in like 6 hours because it's a powerful message that they can share on their own news feed. I had multiple people send me messages. So anyways, my point is, you show a real estate agent the rent versus own, and you're sitting across them and ask them, do you think that you have clients in your database right now that are currently renting that think that home ownership is out of their budget, that we could show them this presentation and get them off the fence to stop renting and start owning? And they're like, it's just mind blowing to them because, again, the numbers don't lie. And so it was so powerful. And literally, I kid you not, confession, that was the first rent versus own that I did. That was the first one.
What a great story. And I hear all the time from top producers the type of relationship they're looking to get with their realtors, where the realtor sees them as someone that will not only help them convert the buyer, but create clarity and urgency. You said confidence through clarity. And when clarity and confidence come together, it creates urgency. So that's netting it out. That's why you use Mortgage Coach with agents. And then it's just a question of telling stories. I love the way you answered my question. Let me tell you a story. I'll bet you, I just have a feeling that when you're talking to agents about Mortgage Coach, it's not like, oh, let me show you this cool new app I have. It's, let me tell you a story and
Right.
let me show you a strategy. In fact, I showed you the strategy. Let me text it to you now. And you're getting them to download the app so that they can see it. And then, of course, you're using video to amplify your voice so that you can share it on social. By the way, everyone who's listening to this, I shared that post that Denise did in the Mortgage Coach private Facebook group. So you're watching this on YouTube. There'll be a link below to our Facebook group. You can either search within our Facebook group by Denise's name, or you can put rent versus own, it will probably pop up. By the way, that was a great post, and you do a great job of telling stories and explaining strategies on Facebook. If I recall, wasn't it Wally who interviewed you? Was it this year or last year?
It was, I think it was earlier this year.
Yeah, it was earlier this year, and so I'm going to put a link below to that because Wally interviewed Denise, and you can hear more about her story, more about how she uses Facebook. It is incredible. So Denise, I want to close on some thoughts. A lot of Mortgage Coach members out there, the folks that are using Mortgage Coach with every client, they would all tell you it saves them time, it provides more clarity. But there are loan officers that they don't use Mortgage Coach, and they're like, oh, it takes too much time. You have elevated yourself to a leadership role now. For loan officers that you lead, what do you tell them when they think it takes more time? And how do we get them off the fence and into this whole new way of doing business as a mortgage coach, delivering clarity and confidence to families? What advice do you have to any loan officer that's not using Mortgage Coach right now?
I guess I can narrow it down to it's a short-term pain for long-term gain, so to speak. And I say that because it's very similar to, back in the day, people used to dry their clothes on a clothesline and clothespins. And if you think about it, that's super simple. All you need is literally a clothesline and a couple of clothespins, and your clothes can be dried. So why complicate it? Why go to a dryer or washer and dryer in today's day and age and mess with all those buttons and all those settings, and you have a lint thing, and why complicate it? Just dry your clothes on a clothesline and clothespins. Well, there's a reason why, and it's because it's more efficient, it's quicker, and you can dry more clothes at one time. And so I say that because it's similar to my experience when I started using Mortgage Coach. Is it took me a little time to figure out where the buttons were and where the lint is. And it's not like it was a machine that I started using and right away I picked it up. But once I used it a couple of times, it is very easy. You know where all the buttons are, you know how to duplicate, and you become efficient. And what happens is you can actually touch more clients faster than what you thought. It's just sometimes, our psyche and it's like when people thought the world was flat and all of a sudden we tell them the world is round. Sometimes we're convinced that it's faster to just send a fee sheet, or it's faster to just do it your way. Maybe you have a fancier Microsoft Excel. That may be your perception today. And of course, your perception is reality. But I would challenge you to just try it and get familiar with where the buttons are, because it's a game changer. It is my value proposition. It creates that clarity. And yeah, it took me some time to figure out where the buttons are, but now I can almost tell you exactly what to do on each screen and where they are because I've done it so many times. So don't get hung up on the learning part of it. It does take some learning. It's not as it's if you were operating on a Nokia phone and then I handed you an iPhone, you'd be like, what the heck is this iPhone? I don't know how to use it. But in a couple of days, everybody migrated to an iPhone super quick and easy. You can imagine operating on just a Nokia. You know what I mean? So it's just a mindset shift. I promise you, once you've done a couple of them, and I learned the most off of your YouTube channel. There is so much that you can learn. There is so much resource on your YouTube channel. You've got videos like this and interviews with top producers, but don't underestimate those training videos. You can almost search anything that you're looking to do, and you can self-teach yourself. So the first thing that I would tell you is get your fee sheets down. You can watch a training video on how to do that. Once you have your fee sheet, man, it's so easy just to plug in purchase price, loan amount, down payment. You plug in the closing cost fee sheet, and I mean, you're almost 3/4 of the way done, and then you just duplicate each option. So don't be stuck on the clothesline and clothespins. It's December. It's the time of year to sharpen your tools. It's the time of year to learn. And if you don't, you're going to be stuck drying, a couple of shirts at a time, whereas all these other loan officers are using a dryer that can, close an entire load in 30 minutes. So that would be my challenge to you is don't be shy and just play around with it. Just get familiar with the buttons. I promise you, if I can do it, you can do it.
I love that wisdom. I love your analogies. Also, that interview I recently did with John Downs, he does a great job of just talking about how he implemented it as a team. So check out below on that. So Denise, you have been fantastic. Thank you for all the leadership you bring to our community, for the company that you work for. You help spread the word, which helps families make better decisions, help realtors sell more homes. And of course, the mortgage professionals that are served by Mortgage Coach, they close more loans. By the way, what we in the sales process, when we're selling Mortgage Coach, we're always saying that at least 15 to 25% better conversion. I mean, what's your take for someone that goes from non-Mortgage Coach, fee worksheet, mortgage professional to Mortgage Coach? How much elevation in performance and conversion do you think average loan officers can get?
Every single presentation that I do, I use a Mortgage Coach Edge. So it's hard to say. I want to rewind myself to 2 years ago when I wasn't using it. And I would say at least 30 to 50%. And the reason why I say that is because the borrower presentation is so important, because you want to be able to show different interest rate options. At least this is my philosophy on it, is I always show once I get down to the point where that we're locking an interest rate in, I always show 4 different interest rate options and then point to that short-term mortgage calculator so we can dissect which rate makes the most financial sense. And so psychologically, what that's doing is I'm able to present maybe an interest rate with 2 points and then 1.5 and then 1 and then no points. And what that's communicating to the client is most times on that 60-month or 84-month, whatever your short-term strategy is, it doesn't make sense to pay all those points. But psychologically, they see that they're qualified for that rate. They puff their chest out and they say, oh, I got that 3.5% rate or that 3.75 rate. But now I know financially that doesn't make the most sense for me because I'm going to be in this house on average between 5 to 6 years. So they feel good about selecting the higher interest rate because now they're educated that financially it doesn't make sense. But I still win the deal because I've presented an option to them that may compete with the internet banks. Or what they see online or in their bank branch when they walk in, because we all know the fine print. They've got all those embedded points and fees. So I win a lot more deals, but I also don't have to do a whole lot of their whole rate rebuttal because it's the whole the psyche of sales of presenting multiple options so they know, oh, I could get that rate, but that doesn't make sense to me, so I'm going to choose this one. And we all know when the client makes the choice, we win because now it's their choice, not our choice for them. So that's huge, and being able to lift my production. But also, I don't honestly, Dave, when I started using Mortgage Coach, I don't get into those back and forth rate conversations where I feel like a used car salesman sometimes because I'm presenting options. And like I said at the beginning, it's so crystal clear when they see that short-term savings against, in my sense, it's going to be the highest rate option that I'm presenting at that point in time in the transaction because it just makes so much sense. And they feel good because I still offered them a low rate, but I'm showing them, hey, it's not all attractive. So now if a competitor of mine offers that rate, they think to themselves, oh yeah, I could have got that rate, but it doesn't financially make sense for me. I don't have to even, they've self-educated themselves.
Yeah, no doubt. They pick their option, they pick their loan officer, and they're not as much going back and forth in rate shopping. So this has been incredible. If you got value from this video, like it, share it with all your mortgage friends. And Denise Donoghue, you're awesome. Thank you for taking time out to bring more value back to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. We appreciate it.
No problem. Take care.
All right, take care, everybody.